guys, and welcome to a new video on Sonal's life. Now, I'm unsure whether I have posted a video since we have arrived in 2026, but if I have not, Happy New Year, Happy 2026, and what better way to start a new year in New Japan World than with Wrestle Kingdom. This year is a very interesting card. So, the first thing that people are going to notice is it seems shorter, it seems very differently laid out. Obviously, we have Tanahashi's final retirement match, which is the focus of this. It's the reason that it sold out. Actually, over capacity, they had to release new tickets, which is something I've never seen in all the time I've been a New Japan fan. But it's also the first time it's been televised by, I believe, TV Asahi, which means that it's going to be a lot more constraints on the time limits and things. But they've added recently some more matches, some more information, and obviously I'm here with the preview. Unlike last year, I am not in Japan watching live, but it's going to be great, so let's get going. Now, normally there is a pre-show, and I believe there will be a pre-show again this year, judging by like start time and things. However, normally the pre-show will consist of like a Rambo, so obviously last year it had it for the World Heavyweight title, or six-man. However, nothing has really been specified there, so as of the time of recording, nothing has been announced, but I hope that we'll see some young lions. And yeah, just to say, I'm recording this ahead of time of it coming out, so if anything has changed on the card, it will not be reflected in this video. But we are starting off strong on the main Wrestle Kingdom card with a match that was recently announced on the final Road to Tokyo Dome show. Now, normally we start off with a shorter match, and that is what we've got, as we have got El Phantasmo putting on the line his New Japan World Television Championship. And who is it against, you ask? None other than DDT's Chris Brooks. Someone I have followed for a very, very long time on the UK independent scene. I believe before the pandemic he permanently moved to Japan and is a mainstay on the DDT roster. He's been multiple time champion, phenomenal. And as again, someone who's watched ELP on the UK independent scene, this match actually means so much to me. It's very close to my heart. And obviously, as you all know, that this is a 15-minute time limit match, and this is going to be great for both guys. Because yes, ELP and Chris Brooks are both very tall, and you could stereotype them into one kind of offense type, but they are also diverse. Chris Brooks, he is tall, but he's extremely athletic. But again, he has an amazing submission base. ELP, we know he's athletic and he has charisma personified, but he also can use some strength and do the classic techers. So this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And it's nice to have a DDT, we'll see again later a DDT, but it's nice to have some DDT representation at the Tokyo Dome, because DDT don't really have their own shows on such a grand scale. So hopefully it's going to be a way for New Japan fans to get a glimpse of what they can expect, and that DDT is not just the comedy promotion, which a lot of people assume. Who do I think is going to win? I think that it's going to be ELP. I think it'd be amazing actually if Chris Brooks would win, and that would be great to see how DDT adapt to this title, because they have the weirdest titles themselves. But I believe that ELP will hold it. I want him to have a long reign with a lot of successful defenses, because I think that actually has been pushed a bit to the back, and I want it to come back to the forefront, and I think ELP can do that. I mentioned DDT before. We then have the massive, and how have they named it? They've named it the Never Openweight 6-man Tornado Rambo. So I mentioned earlier that the starting show, the opener, normally has the Rambo in it of some kind, and this year they have moved it to the main card, which is good, because actually this has got the full, anyone who's anyone is on this match, which is shocking because that means they've been missed out on higher matches. So basically the context is it's just going to be chaos. And obviously the champions are Toru Yano, Yo, and Master Wato, and there are a plethora of teams, and I'm going to mention them now. So we have Takechi, who is an idol and a member of the DDT roster. This is a very exciting thing. It's going to have a lot of non-wrestling fans' eyes on this, especially within the idol community. So he will be teaming with Uemura and Shota Umino. Very handsome team indeed. Bolton Oleg is teaming with Bishamon's Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. The team of TMDK is Hartley Jackson, Zack Sabre Jr. and Oiwa. We have Taguchi, Tiger Mask and Makabe. War Dog. So it is Clark Connors Clark Connors is teaming with the Knockout Brothers, so Oscar Loibe and Yuto Ice. We then have Team 150, which is Satoshi Kojima, Taichi, and Ishii. If anyone remembers during World Tag League, the name comes from it will be the combined ages of Ishii, Taichi, and Kojima, which is really fun. We have, and obviously, House of Torture, so we have Kanemaru, Sanada, and Ren Narita. This is a long list, and this is actually, like, we were mentioning this on the internet and stuff, that this is a list of names that should have been higher. We've got the likes of Shota Umino, who main evented last year's Wrestle Kingdom. Former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Hiroki Goto. Tag Team Champions, former IWGP Champion Zack Sabre Jr. And I know it seems sort of like a grievance, like, why are they so low on the card? Why are in this Rambo? But I kind of hope that this gives a new spotlight to the Never Six-Man titles, which have in the past been hot potatoed. In my brain, in my heart, I would love the team of TMDK to win. Hartley Jackson, Zack, and Oiwa. That's where my heart is, mainly because I'm Team TMDK. It'd also be cool to see Shota and Uemura win with Takechi. I think that would be an amazing spotlight on everything that's going on. However, realistically, my worry is that it's going to go back to House of Torture, because in the past few years, it feels like House of Torture has dominated this division, as shown by a later match. But this is going to be chaos, and I live for that. We then have the IWGP Women's title match, and this sees Shuri facing Saya Kamatani. And actually, this is a joint one for the Strong Women's Championship and the IWGP. I hope that because they are this place in the card, that they're going to get slightly longer than they have in the past. But Stardom wrestlers have proven time and time again that actually you don't need 30-40 minutes to put on an amazing match. These two women are hugely successful. They are hugely talented, and they really embody what it means to be a champion. So I'm very excited to see them. Obviously, my knowledge of Stardom isn't too knowledgeable, but this is from what I'm seeing when I see them on the New Japan shows. And this is going to be so great. I always love, especially since this collaboration with Stardom, is that New Japan is giving women a chance to shine on the card. And I really hope that they get given the time they need. Again, they don't need too much, but enough time to showcase to the world. And again, this is going to be televised, so an even bigger platform to show what these women can do. Now, in terms of who I think is going to win, it's an interesting one, actually, because, like I said, I don't know too much about the women and their like journeys in Stardom, so I'm gonna actually abstain from picking on this because I feel like I'm not qualified to. But this is going to be an amazing match. The next match we have is a 10-man tag, and it's very surprising because it is 10, well, quite a lot of men who could have easily had singles matches, and we are seeing War Dogs and unaffiliated, so David Finlay, Shingo Takagi, Hiromu, Gabriel Kidd, and Drilla Maloney. Yes, we are continuing this very weird but beautiful combination of the two factions facing the Empire, and it is Callum Newman, Great-O Khan, Hanare is making his return after what seems like forever, Andrade, who was recently announced as the benefactor behind the Empire, and X. Now this is stemming years. Basically, the Empire, we've said, have had the shittest luck ever. And this kind of came from when Will Ospreay left New Japan, and it came off the dog pound steel cage match that they had. Then Callum got even more bitter because it was Hiromu and Fin who were the reason that him and Great-O Khan didn't make it through to World Tag League. So they basically came and like, yo, we're going to kill you, we're going to end you, and we're going to bring two new people. Again, Andrade was introduced in the Road 2 show, and we still have an X. This X has got a lot of people intrigued. Some people think it's Tetsuya Naito, who we also believe made his debut at Noah. Again, I recorded this before, so he may or may not have. This is going to be exciting. No titles on the line, but a very prominent place on the card for a lot of the guys in these three very strong factions. I don't know what to expect. This is going to be a lot more traditional, but I know it is going to be hard hitting. What's interesting is actually the only junior in this match is Hiromu. And Hiromu said that this is his weakest place on the card he's ever had in Wrestle Kingdom. Because if you think about it, Hiromu has always been in title matches, but I think it's going to be nice to see Hiromu in a very different setting where he has got to channel his inner heel, his more rougher side than the happy-go-lucky Hiromu-chan that we're used to. But interestingly, when I'm thinking about who is going to win, normally I would have said War Dogs are unaffiliated, again, two of the strongest factions, but the Empire need this, and I think bringing Andrade, they really want to build themselves as a faction who is going to be at the top. As heels, because we've seen their side come out, and I genuinely think the Empire need this win a lot more. So this is going to be exciting. It's got some of my favourite people in. I always love seeing Driller and Shingo together. Like, they're my new favourite duo. Do you know what I mean? Whether they're brothers or married, it is great. And this is a very nice break in the card and a very interesting choice to have at Wrestle Kingdom. We then have something that is very, probably what I'm not looking forward to on the card. And this is because I mentioned in a past video the lack of junior presence on this in terms of there's no titles on the line. But there is a fatal 4-way contenders match, which sees Kosei Fujita, El Desperado, Taiji Shimori and Sho. I've told you the junior division is kind of in shit at the moment with the House of Torture controlling everything. They're the reason that there's no title matches, and this match should be great. But again, the presence of Sho, which means the presence of Doki and the House of Torture, is probably going to make this match really bittersweet for me. I don't mind a contenders match if I knew it was going to be a solid wrestling match, because Desperado, Ishimori and Fujita are amazing. We'll see what they do with this. Again, the junior matches are really known for having multi-man to get them in, but the lack of title matches for these juniors is really heartbreaking, and I don't know why this has happened. In my heart, I would love Fujita to win. I know that Sho won't because obviously Doki holds a title, but I'm worried that there's going to be shenanigans and it's going to overshadow what the junior division can do, because that's what's been happening, especially since September, is that the House of Torture's prominence in the junior division has overtaken what is a beautiful division for me. So as much as I always love junior matches, this one I can't look forward to as much, but I really hope Fujita wins. From one House of Torture to another, we then have Evil, who is the Never Openweight Championship. He will be having a debut match against Aaron Wolf, who is making his debut at Wrestle Kingdom. For anyone who doesn't know, Aaron Wolf is an Olympian. He has been a real hot topic for New Japan fans. He is known for people outside the wrestling community because he's an Olympian, isn't he, at the end of the day? This feud has been going on, and it's actually quite an interesting take, because I know when they first announced that Evil was going to be Aaron Wolf's opponent, there was a lot of hate because it's Evil. But this is a lot to do with the stuff behind the scenes, and people don't know how much Evil is involved in the training of the future generation, out of kayfabe, obviously, because in New Japan he's an evil bastard. Again, this is a match I'm not sure about, because Evil can have a good match in Evil standards with the right person. E.g., he had a great one with Takeshita for the G1. But I wonder with the shenanigans. Similarly, I have never seen Aaron Wolf wrestle. Professional wrestle. Have they hyped him up too much for this? Giving him a title match? They did a similar thing with Bolton Oleg, where they hyped him, and he didn't deliver. Still not delivered, in Bolton Oleg's case. But we'll have to see how this works. I assume there's going to be interference. But I'd like to think that Aaron Wolf is going to make a difference, and he is going to be the person who takes that Never title, and we can start a new reign. And maybe it will start the downfall of House of Torture, because that is sorely needed. We then get to the two main matches. The two, I guess, like in another world, they would be co-main events. But we are starting with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. Yes, it's in the semi-main event. And we are seeing Yota Tsuji, who's the global champion, facing IWGP champion Konosuke Takeshita. And this is actually a double belt match, similar to, I believe, the women's match. These two are the future of New Japan. I guess you could say that the present, we don't know. On any other day, this should have been the main event. But again, the main event is the reason why it's sold out. This match has been built really well. We have Takeshita, who is obviously triple contracted. He's not really been present in New Japan as champion, facing the global champion, which is the secondary belt, Tsuji, who is there all the time. In the past few weeks, in interviews backstage, he's like, how can Takeshita claim to want to represent New Japan if he is not there? No doubt this is going to be probably the best, technically the best match on the card. Both Tsuji and Takeshita are absolutely phenomenal athletes, but very diverse as well. Both men are very large, very strong, but extremely athletic. We obviously know Tsuji did his excursion in CMLL, well, half of it. So his lucha skills after, he is flipping like he is a junior heavyweight. Similarly with Takeshita, we have seen him go flying high over the top rope and things. Because they both have very diverse backgrounds and where they've got their skills from. Again, Takeshita, he's in the US, but his home was in DDT, which is one of the most, I think, varied promotions that are humanly possible. This match is going to be the story of the man who is taking over professional wrestling versus the man who wants to take over New Japan and be that shining light. Obviously now Tanahashi is going. I personally believe that the only right decision for this match would be for Tsuji to win. He's also mentioned how he wants to bring the lineage of the new heavyweight belt with the old belt. Mainly because there is an ongoing thing that this new belt is cursed of some kind. It is insane to me that this isn't obviously the main event. The last time that the IWGP title match probably wasn't the main event involved Hiroshi Tanahashi, and it was him and Shinsuke Nakamura, I believe, for the Intercontinental belt. But I know that these two are really firmly going to hold the fort for the young generation and showcase that although we are celebrating the end of one career, the end of New Japan is nowhere near because there are a lot of people ready to hold it up. And yeah, this has got potential to be a match of the year candidate before it even happens. And again, on any other day, it would be the main event. However, the main event is given to the Shacho of the company, as Hiroshi Tanahashi, after over 25 years, I believe, in the industry, in the company, is having his retirement match. And who else would be the perfect fit for Tanahashi's final match than the Rainmaker Okada, who is permanently going to be intertwined in Tanahashi's career and vice versa. One of my favourite feuds of New Japan ever, and it feels like the fitting way. Now, there's obviously a bit of grumblings of what we can expect. Are we going to get the Rainmaker Okada, or are we going to get cocky bastard Okada? Now, Okada sort of teased in like interviews and stuff he's done that while the Rainmaker music and Gato came out for the big announcement earlier, I believe in like November, that he is going to be the cocky fool. However, I do not think that that is something we can depend on. I can imagine that this match is going to see Okada start being cocky, trying to cheat, maybe even go back to not just the AEW, but remnants of the heel Rainmaker from when he came back from Excursion. But I can imagine that actually Tanahashi's heart and soul is going to be managed to bring Okada back to who he was. Remember the Rainmaker shock? Well, that is something that is embedded. That made Okada, and he's going to remember that. Hell, if you remember that towards the end of Okada's time, when Jay White came and caused chaos, it brought Tanahashi and Okada together. It brought chaos and Hontai. So I feel like if anyone can bring back the old Okada, it is going to be Tanahashi. Will this be the best technical match on the card? No, because as much as we hate to admit, and as good as he's been in 2025, Tanahashi's knees are still fucked up. But Tanahashi has the heart and Okada has the heart to bring out a match that is going to be extremely emotional for so many people. Personally, for me, while I've only started watching New Japan in 2018, Tanahashi has been a huge part of that. Every Royal Quest that I've been to, so that's 4, I've met the Shacho on so many occasions. He's pure joy. He is the heart of New Japan. And while, yes, we could have easily made the argument that Tsuji and Takeshita should have main evented, for someone who has been in the company through the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the last match for Tanahashi, he has to be on that main event. He has to have that final moment with the tens of thousands of fans who have supported him over the years. Now, in terms of who's going to win this, it could go either way. I've at first thought, well, it's obvious Okada's going to win, isn't he? Like, why would... Tanahashi's very good at putting over people. And with him leaving, I feel like he would still be as selfless. I was like, oh, well, maybe Okada will beat Tanahashi, and then whoever wins the IWGP belt and global, Okada might go after that. He has beef with both Takeshita and Tsuji. But actually, now a few weeks later after the announcement, I kind of want Tanahashi to win. Can you imagine that final Tokyo Dome, the streamers coming down, Tanahashi in the centre of the ring doing a 40-minute air guitar encore with the crowds who are probably going to be crying, as am I, to celebrate the Ace's career? That's kind of what I need. Okada's not someone who needs to be put over, especially not in Japan, because that's not what his base is. So I think the best thing would be for Tanahashi to finally redeem himself from that Rainmaker shock, to have the Ace shock, and end the Tokyo Dome in the most beautiful way. Now, yeah, it's a very interesting card. Is it as consistent, I think, as like other cards in terms of like quality? Maybe not. The lack of junior matches is something to be questioned. The House of Torture presence, the fact that so many of the top guys are in a Rambo, like I said, Shota, Uemura, Bishamon, Zack Sabre Jr., do you know what I mean? However, it's a very different thing for New Japan. They're going to be televised. It's now not only trying to suit New Japan fans, but trying to attract people from different walks of life to get them into the company. This is going to be Tanahashi's last show. I know that there's been a lot of trepidations, but I trust New Japan. I trust Tanahashi. The bookers I don't always trust, but I know that they're going to give Tanahashi the best farewell. And I've not yet been disappointed by Wrestle Kingdom, so I have my fingers crossed for this as well. That was my Wrestle Kingdom preview. We're starting off 2026. I always joke with my friends and stuff of like, they're like, oh, New Year and Christmas must be so calming for you, but actually it is probably the busiest time for me on this channel with New Japan, but I wouldn't ask for it any other way. So obviously I've told you my predictions, my preview. Now it's your turn to let me know in the comments, on social media at wrestling_chat. Make sure to follow me because I will be live tweeting during the show. Let me know your thoughts, your predictions, who's going to win each match, which matches you're looking forward to the most and why. And generally let me know your thoughts on the card itself. Like I said, January 4th is huge. It's the biggest show of the New Japan year. I will be watching live tweeting. I will have a video straight like hours after the show ends with a whole review. So make sure you hit like, share and subscribe so you are the first people to know when I have posted. I'm excited. It's going to be very emotional. Like, Wrestle Kingdom doesn't normally make me emotional because I can expect very good matches, but everything with Tanahashi, it's going to be a hard one for us all. But yeah, hopefully we can enjoy it and just bask in the career of the Ace. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy Wrestle Kingdom, and I will see you soon. Bye!